Well, good morning. I didn't realize it was going to be so bright in here. I meant my glasses are adjusting. First of all, welcome. Welcome to all of you for this important honor, and an honor to a really truly distinguished friend, colleague, and public servant in Doug Dibert, class of 1970. The Red, White, and Carolina Blue Challenge was launched in the fall of 2017 with a generous gift of $20 million from Steve and Debbie Vedder, a critical component to the campaign for Carolina. The Red, White, and Carolina Blue Challenge is part of the Carolina Edge Signature Initiative with the goal of raising an incredible $1 billion for student scholarships. The RWCB reflects UNC's commitment to the military with currently the largest number of active students since World War II. UNC Chapel Hill opened the Carolina Veterans Resource Center in 2017, a dedicated space for our military-affiliated and veteran populations, and has established programs such as the UNC Physician's Assistant Program and the Keenan Flagler Business School's Executive Education Program for officers. RWCB addresses a critical need in our state. North Carolina ranks 4th in the nation with over 100,000 active duty personnel stationed in this state. Today's gift is a critical step on our way to meeting the challenge. Here to honor Bernard Dibert, father of Doug Dibert, and his sacrifice. Now my privilege to introduce Tom Lamberth, class of 57. Director Emeritus of the Smith Reynolds Foundation, he was its executive director for more than 2 decades. During his tenure, the foundation awarded grants totaling more than $260 million to address many of North Carolina's most pressing policy issues, particularly social justice and equity, governance and civil engagement, community building and economic development, education, and protection of the state's natural resources. During his career, Tom served as administrative assistant to Governor Terry Sanford and as the longtime administrative assistant to North Carolina Congressman Richard Pryor. Lamberth has had a strong impact on many public policy issues in North Carolina and nationally, including leadership of the Public School Forum of North Carolina, the North Carolina Rural Economic Development Center, and the Hunt Institute for Educational Leadership. Former BOT chair member, he is a recipient of the GA's Distinguished Service Medal, the university's Distinguished Alumni Award, and the Davey Award for service to UNC. He received an honorary degree from UNC in 2012, the North Carolina Award for Public Service in 2005, and the University Award from the UNC system in 2001. The Lamberth Distinguished Professorship and the Lamberth Lecture in Public Policy were established in his honor. He was the former chair of the GA board and longtime chair of the GA Tar Heel Network. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Tom Lamberth.
The truth is, that's not the reason I'm here. Last year, I got asked to serve on a board in Winston-Salem, where I live, and I said, as I increasingly say, and I think it's not a bad policy, that there really ought to be a younger person on that board than I. And my friend, an alumnus of this institution, who was asking me, said, "Oh, you don't understand. This is the old guy's seat." There's always got to be an old guy on the board who can remember things. So I really have the old guy's seat up here today. I can remember all of those capital campaigns. However, it is an absolute lie that I was here for the beginning, the laying of the cornerstone of Old East. It is my great privilege on behalf of the 65,000 active members of the General Alumni Association and of our chair, Ferg Norton, who's with us here, and of the 330,000 alumni of this university to announce that the association is making a gift of $2 million to establish a scholarship fund for students from military families. The fund will be named the Lieutenant Colonel Bernard W. Dibert Carolina Covenant for Military Families Endowed Scholarship Fund. It will aid military dependents who qualify for the Carolina Covenant. It will support, as you've heard, the university's Red, White, and Carolina Blue Challenge, which seeks as a part of the Campaign for Carolina to raise $40 million to support dependents in military families. Colonel Dibert was killed in Vietnam in June of 1965. He had served in World War II and in the Korean War and was many times decorated, including a Silver Star and a Purple Heart. And he was the father of our GAA president, Doug Dibert. Colonel Dibert left us a great treasure, his family. All 5 of his sons graduated from college, and 4 of them graduated from UNC. In addition to honoring the memory and service of Colonel Dibert, we make this gift to honor Doug for his outstanding leadership of the GAA since 1982. This is not the association's first gift to Carolina. We're meeting this morning in a building which is one of those gifts and is also one of the most tangible reminders of the impact of the leadership of Doug Dibert. The GAA's first fundraising campaign was 131 years ago in 1858 when we led a campaign for a campus monument to honor our first president, Joseph Caldwell. In the years since, GAA members have been involved in the leadership of every Carolina capital campaign. In 2017-2018, gifts from GAA members constituted 83% of alumni donations. There's an interesting bit of Carolina history in what we announced today. We honor in this gift a colonel, and we make the gift to a university founded by another colonel. The military service, which is woven into the fabric of the history of this place, spans 3 centuries, from Davie to Dibert. There's something else very special about what we announced today. It is a theme that runs throughout the sound we hark on this hill. Hundreds of miles north and west of the region in Vietnam where Colonel Dibert made the supreme sacrifice in service to his country is the city of Kohima. There, one of the important but mostly, almost totally forgotten, battles of World War II was fought. If you were there this morning, you would see what is my favorite memorial to those who gave their lives in that war. It is a simple concrete slab on which are these words: "When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow we gave our today." This university and this alumni association are much about today and tomorrow, but this is also a place of memory. We would hope that these scholarships, as they honor those who have served in the military and support their families, would give special pause to remember those who, as did the soldier for whom they are named, gave their todays for the tomorrows of others, like those who live and work and dream here. Remember them. Finally, in this very special place, in this great public university, there is long-honored commitment to the belief that Carolina can be both accessible and excellent. There is no more devoted or eloquent servant of that ideal than the man I introduce to you now. He approaches admissions to the university with his life perspective of the first in his family to go to college. In the 14 years he has been vice provost, there has been in each of those years an increase in applications. As a result of his leadership, Carolina has more students who are first in their family to go to college, more international students, and more students of color. Steve Farmer.
Tom Lambeth, thank you very much for those very, very generous and kind words. And thanks to the General Alumni Association, to its leadership for the extraordinary gift we're celebrating today. And Debbie and Steve Vetter, to you, thank you for your generosity and your vision in bringing the Red, White, and Carolina Blue Challenge to this university and making it a reality for students not only today but for all time. And of course, Doug Dibbert, thank you. Your principled service, your integrity have been great gifts to me personally, to the university, and to all who love the university. Thank you for everything. This year, we're celebrating 15 years of the Carolina Covenant. The Carolina Covenant, the first program of its kind at a public university in the United States, which promises remarkable students that if they earn admission to Carolina, will make it possible for them to graduate debt-free. Over the last 4 entering classes, almost 3,000 new Covenant scholars have joined us here on campus. These students earned their places at our university. We are glad and grateful that they chose us. Among these extraordinary Covenant scholars are students, and not a few of them, from military families. These students and their families have often been asked time and time again to go above and beyond the call of duty for all of us. And it is an honor, a privilege, and a joy to be a part of a university that welcomes these students through the Red, White, and Blue Carolina Challenge so that they can join us here and make the most of their gifts and leave here having done everything that they came here to do. And leave here going in their own way to lead and to serve, so that the people who follow them will face the prospect of better lives on and on through the generations. The gift we're celebrating today will make it possible for us to welcome 25 remarkable Colonel Dibbert scholars to the university forever. There is no doubt that the students who receive this scholarship will be proud to bear the name of Colonel Dibbert, and I hope that in some way he will be proud that they bear his name. We have one Covenant scholar with us this morning, Kaylee Olecki, a sophomore, computer science and Japanese double major, a Carolina Covenant scholar, the child of a Navy veteran, the grandchild of 3 veterans. She comes from a family full of servicemen and women, and when she leaves us today, she will go to take an 11:15 midterm in Japanese. So please join me in welcoming her warmly. Kaylee.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Kaylee Olecki. I am, as was stated, a comp sci Japanese double major, and yeah, it's a lot of work. I am of the class of 2021, and I, as was stated, have been from a military family. Just from a little bit about me, I'm originally from Plymouth, Massachusetts, but for the past 13 years, I lived in a small town in North Carolina called Creswell. It has a population of 300 people. I was actually part of a graduating class of 20. I come from a very underserved community, and so a lot of the things I've done at this university has definitely improved on the things that I didn't get in high school. Excuse me. So just a little more about my military family. As was stated, I'm a child of a Navy vet. My father was in the Navy. My grandparents were both in the Marines and the Army. I have 2 cousins in the Air Force. My dad, when I was really young, asked me, like, are you thinking about going into the military? If so, smart people go into the Air Force. And I was like, maybe not for me. So as was stated, a lot of my tuition comes from Carolina Covenant and from gifts such as the Red, White, and Carolina Blue Challenge. I'm actually able to graduate debt-free because of these gifts. And I've also, like other students like me, we get a lot of other opportunities just like that. So I have actually been able to go to Japan twice when I have never left the country before in my life. The first time I went to Japan was for a program called the Kakahashi Program, which is organized by the Japanese government, where 20 people from this university, including myself, represented all of America in creating better business ties with Japan. And then this summer, I spent a 2-month immersion program in Japan as well. Both of those programs were, again, sponsored by gifts such as this, and I went almost completely free both times. So there's a lot of different things that generous gifts, such as the gift we're receiving today, has done for kids at Carolina. One of the things my mom really drove home with me when I was little was that I was paying for college myself. I remember the conversation very clearly. We were in the car. I was about 7, and I knew when I was little, like, I loved learning, and I wanted to continue to learn, and I wanted higher education. And I said, Mom, college costs money. It's not like public school. Who's going to be paying for my college? And she said, you are, because I don't have that. And so the Carolina Covenant and gifts with the Red, White, and Carolina Blue Challenge have taken away the financial stress of today's economy and all sorts of things, and allows me to focus on what really matters, which is my studies and getting opportunities that aren't normally presented to me through UNC. UNC always has opportunities, and they have connections to different opportunities that these students can receive. And it's really nice when you have gifts like this to back you up and have your back in the end. So what I would like to say is that gifts like the Red, White, and Carolina Blue Challenge and the Carolina Covenant, all of those make Carolina truly like a tangible experience for students like me, and truly makes the campaign for Carolina for everyone. So thank you.
With this gift, we also honor Doug Dibert, who has been the CEO of this organization since 1982. He has successfully completed his probationary period, and we have decided to keep him. Doug's leadership of the GAA is extraordinary. Tangible and intangible evidence of that is all around. It is seen most clearly in the group of colleagues he has brought together. We are all indebted to him for finding them. He works hard. He is great at attention to the smallest, the very smallest detail. And he can see the big picture. He has imagination. He is loyal. He is honest. And he encourages people who have the same qualities. Doug is recognized as one of the outstanding alumni association leaders in the country. In fact, he is probably the best of all of them. On the national level, he has served with distinction on the Knight Commission on Intercollegiate Athletics and support of and on the Leadership Council for Advancement and Support of Education. Closer to home, he has worked effectively to maintain relationships with the Alumni Association of other institutions within the UN system. And he has shared with us the treasure of his family. We are grateful for Brian and Michael and Carolyn and their children, who you will meet in a minute, obviously the most attractive part of the family. With the possible exception, what would we do without Debbie? Doug is just a very special person. Colonel Dibert and his mother would be so very proud of him as his admiring friend of more than 4 decades. I know I am. Doug Dibert.
Those 37 years, Tom, just demonstrate that I'm a very slow learner. Thank you all for being here. It means a lot to our family, particularly to my brothers Billy and Michael, and to me. Debbie and I are particularly pleased that in addition to my brothers and their wives, that our sons, Brian and Michael, each a Carolina alumnus, our daughter-in-law, Carolyn, and our grandchildren, Teddy, Jameson, and Cassidy, are here as well. And I believe my niece, Ashley, has slipped in from class. And Bob, I'm especially grateful for your remarkable leadership and for your clearing your always busy schedule to preside at this special gathering. Our father was not often mistaken, but he was clearly wrong about one thing that he often referenced to and emphasized to his five sons. Dad, big boys do cry. I want to reassure you that my attempt this morning is to make Dad proud by not tearing up too often. My longtime friend and one of the older brothers I never had, Tom Lambeth, who I first met on the second floor of Gardner Hall in the fall of 1967 when he interviewed me for the Richardson Fellows Program, has already shared with you the important support the association has long provided the university, without which Carolina's remarkable philanthropic success would not be possible. Many years ago, I advised a new senior development officer who did not go to Carolina and was really struggling to understand our self-governed association. Just treat us, if you would, any other 7-figure annual donor, because without our alumni records, award-winning communications, and award-winning programs, your office would have to invest at least that amount to assure the number of engaged, informed, and involved alumni essential to the university's fundraising success. Nearly 37 years ago, I had the great honor of being selected for this position. Ray Ferris, who is with us today, was one of the 5 members of that search committee. The association's budget was $650,000. Over the years, the partnership between our loyal, engaged, committed volunteer leaders, represented by current and former board members, and the hardworking, talented, and all-in GAA staff that partnership has assured the continuing stewardship which makes today's gift announcement possible. In the past 25 years, the GAA has earned nearly 150 awards from our professional association, CASE. Such ongoing recognition is an affirmation of our volunteers and of our staff. Our relatively lean staff of 39 has worked for the GAA on behalf of our alumni and our university for a combined 460 years. I'd like all past and present GAA board members and past and present GAA staff to stand and be recognized. I am most grateful to all GAA board members, particularly those currently serving on the GAA Executive Committee, led by Admiral and Chair Ferg Norton, Senator and GAA Treasurer Tony Rand, Big Ten Commissioner and immediate past Chair Jim Delaney, Counsel Wade Smith, Assistant Treasurer Davey Davidson, Rich Leonard, our Chair-elect, and of course Tom Lambeth. They met, conspired, and crafted a much-needed and meaningful gift to our university made in a way that would also recognize me. While I think the jury is still out as to whether or not I should be so recognized, there is absolutely no doubt that our dad long ago earned this recognition. Happily, my best friend is also my wife. Debbie served as Chancellor Carol Folt's Chief of Staff for over 3 years, but for more than 40 years, she has been the Chief of Staff of our family. And Steve, I recently told Debbie, I hope you work at Carolina as long as the old well continues to await students on their very first day of class. In telling you about our dad, it is important also to tell you a little about our mom. Our dad always reminded my 4 younger brothers and me that you have the best mother in the world. Mom was the youngest of 6 children born to German immigrant parents in Fort Collins, Colorado. Her father was killed by lightning when she was a baby. She and her immediate older sister were the only family members to graduate from high school. Dad graduated from high school in Manistee, Michigan. Mom and Dad met at a dance in Fort Lewis, Washington. They enjoyed jitterbugging and later learned that they also enjoyed travel and playing bridge. Mom worked for Boeing in Seattle. Dad was an enlisted man, a sergeant, and months later, when Dad asked Mom, "How would you like to spend the rest of your life with me?" she happily said yes. Our parents' greatest gift to their 5 sons was their daily modeling of commitment to family and their obvious love for each other. To become an Army officer, Dad entered the University of Washington, joined Army ROTC, where he was selected to be the cadet colonel of his class. Of Dad's selection, Colonel Arch Carpenter, his classmate and longtime friend, said, "What an honor. Cadet Colonel Dibbert was a handsome guy, tall and with an easy military bearing, and represented the program and the school with grace and dignity. He was comfortable with his role and avoided stuffiness. The regimental review for the governor of Washington was a big affair. Your dad was part of the reviewing party, which means he got to socialize a bunch with the governor, the university president, and professors of military science and other dignitaries. My immediate younger brother, Buddy, and I were born while Dad was in college. After graduating, Dad was deployed to Korea, leaving Mom with 2 toddlers and pregnant. Our brother Michael was born while Dad was in Korea. Michael and our youngest brother, Billy, are both here today with their wives, Tricia and Jeannie, and all 4 are Carolina alumni. Mom received a telegram in the late fall of 1952, which began, "We regret to inform you that your husband has been wounded." Dad's arms and legs were full of shrapnel, but because he was wearing an experimental chest protector, no vital organs were compromised. Dad's wedding band had to be cut off, and to reclaim the use of his fingers, his physical therapy included playing the piano and weaving. With the births of Charlie and later Billy, we became a family of 7, and for the next 9 years, we were inseparable. We lived in 9 different homes in those 9 years, and I attended 8 different schools. We lived in a small 2-bedroom house near Fort Benning in Columbus, Georgia. Dad became a company commander in the 82nd Airborne at Fort Bragg, and after a year and a half, we sailed on a troop ship out of Wilmington to Germany, where Dad was again a company commander. He loved jumping out of airplanes. He joked that our large family needed the extra $100 a month jump pay. Dad also greatly enjoyed leading his troops. While in Germany, we often traveled in a '57 Ford ranch wagon to visit battlefields and other historic destinations throughout Western Europe. Dad was selected to attend the Command and General Staff College in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, after which he became the G3 for plans and operations of the 18th Airborne Corps at Fort Bragg. Dad was very happy to be back in the jump slot so he could earn his master jump status, having broken his leg just 2 jumps short of the necessary 65 while in Germany. In the fall of 1964, Dad learned that he would depart for Vietnam the following spring. Our family was required to move off base. Dad and Mom bought a ranch house in nearby Fayetteville, where we thought we'd remain for no more than a year and a half. Mom still owned that house when she passed away on July 11, 2011. I was alone with Mom on June 1st, 1965, when in the early afternoon we returned home to find a notice on the front door. A notice indicating that a taxicab driver had attempted to deliver a telegram. The taxicab driver later returned and handed Mom a telegram with a message that forever changed our lives. The telegram again began, "We regret to inform you." But unlike the telegram from Korea, Mom instantly knew she could have no hope because this telegram conveyed the tragic news that Dad had been killed in an ambush near Pleiku in the highlands of Vietnam. In a letter responding to my youngest brother Billy's request for memories of our dad, Dad's colleague and close friend, Colonel John Collins, shared, "The U.S. Armed Forces, mainly elements of the 18th Airborne Corps and the 82nd Airborne Division, intervened in the Dominican Republic to restore stability on April 28, 1965. Your daddy, who knew more about related plans than anybody else in the world, was tailor-made for duty in the Dominican Republic, but received orders to Vietnam instead. He was ambivalent about his assignment. He was excited about prospects of combat, but had a premonition that he might not return." Another colleague and close friend, Colonel Robert Bayless, wrote, "I am certain that if he had returned from Vietnam, he would have served in high places and that without any doubt would have attained the rank of Major General or even higher." Dad was buried in Arlington Cemetery, not far from the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And 29 years later, nearby, Lieutenant Colonel Bernard W. Dibbert, Jr., my immediate younger brother, was also buried. Our mom now shares Dad's tombstone. In the few weeks that Dad was in Vietnam, we exchanged audio tapes. And his 9, 10, 12, 15, and 17-year-old sons and our mom delighted in bringing Dad up to date on what was going on in our lives. Besides sharing what was going on in his life, Dad always had a few messages for each of us. Obey and respect your mother was a constant. Over the years, Mom and Dad often emphasized the importance of earning a college degree. I vividly remember Dad saying in at least one tape, "I expect each of you boys to get a college education, a basic 4-year degree. I don't care if you major in basket weaving, but I do expect you to get a college degree." Too often, military brats don't see their father for extended periods of time, and usually they don't know what he's doing. Unspoken but understood, military brats know that at any time their father could be put into a life or death situation. Because military families move a lot, military brats never feel that they are at home. By the time I graduated from Carolina, I realized that Chapel Hill had become as much home as I had ever known. Our mom willingly embraced the challenges of being the single parent to 5 sons, and she was relentless in making certain that each of us earned a college degree. Before he left for Vietnam, Dad and I talked about college or university, which one I might attend. I mentioned Davidson, to which he responded, "I don't know why, after growing up with 4 brothers, you'd want to go out in the middle of nowhere with 1,000 other guys." Happily, I found my way to Carolina, which was much more affordable, closer to home, and co-ed. All 5 of the Dibbert boys earned college degrees, and 2 of the 5, Michael and Billy, not only earned undergraduate but master's degrees from Carolina. Michael even earned 2 additional master's degrees elsewhere. Our late brother Buddy wanted Army OTC, which Carolina did not then offer. My brothers and I are deeply grateful for the association's remarkable gift establishing the Lieutenant Colonel Bernard W. Dibbert Carolina Covenant for Military Families Endowed Scholarship Fund to aid military dependents who qualify for the Carolina Covenant. We are especially pleased that the association's gift will also be a match to the transformational gift from Debbie and Steve Vetter, who established the Red, White, and Carolina Blue Challenge to support families of military veterans. And Debbie, we're particularly grateful for your being here this morning. We look forward to meeting and getting to know each of the students who earn scholarships that bear in our Father's name. Carolina remains proudly committed to access and affordability, which especially is important to military families. I cannot think of anything our association volunteer leaders could do that more pleases me than to honor my father by assuring that there will forever be Carolina Covenant students from military families with scholarships that bear our dad's name. I'll close now with a prayer my brother Michael shared with me about a dozen years ago. It was written in the desperate early days of the Pacific War and World War II. Build me a son, O Lord, who will be strong enough to know when he is weak, brave enough to face himself when he is afraid, one who will be proud and unbending in honest defeat, humble and gentle in victory. Build me a son whose wishes will not take the place of deeds, a son who will know thee, and that to know himself is the foundation of knowledge. Lead him, I pray, not in the path of ease and comfort, but under the stress and spur of difficulties and challenge. Let him learn to stand up in the storm. Let him learn compassion for those who fail. Build me a son whose heart will be clear, whose goal will be high, a son who will master himself before he seeks to master other men, one who will reach into the future, yet never forget the past. And after all these things are his, add, I pray, enough of a sense of humor so that he may always be serious, yet never take himself too seriously. Give him humility, the simplicity of greatness, the open mind of true wisdom, and the meekness of true strength. Then I, his father, will dare to whisper, I have not lived in vain. Thank you.
Doug, thank you. That was a truly amazing story, and I had some prepared remarks, but I have chosen to deviate from those. That might worry some people. You know, my mother once told me that there was no greater compliment that she could receive than to hear from someone else what an outstanding child they raised. Your parents should be so proud of you. And I very much appreciate your sharing this story so personally today with this audience, because I think it, in many ways, provides the evidence of the importance of this great gift. To give an individual, a young person, a chance that they may never have had otherwise, to do something that they otherwise would never have been able to do, with just the possibility of really making a difference in this world. I know what you say about Steve Farmer, and Kaylee, thank you for representing the program so well. And Steve, I think, epitomizes the heart and the soul of this university when we say affordability and accessible. Two words, two phrases that I think epitomize what this university stands for and wants to continue to stand for as we move forward. So I very much appreciate the support of the GAA and the commitment to the Carolina Covenant, a truly amazing program that I think all of us who have had the pleasure of being here since its inception 15 years ago are so incredibly proud of. We would love to do more, and I think a gift like this enables us to do that. So, and certainly, I don't think that we could select a better cohort of students than those who have put their own lives on the line for this country, like your dad did. There is no greater testament to service than the service that one gives when they go into the military and they defend not only the honor of this country, but they defend the freedoms that all of us enjoy every day of our lives. Your dad would be proud of you, Doug, mainly because of the fact that he dedicated his life to service, and you have too. Service to this great state, service to this great university, and service to all of us, particularly the alumni, the over 300,000 alumni that have walked away from this university and represent us every day with the great works and the great impact that they have. So Doug, thank you so much for building this wonderful program here at North Carolina, and thank you for your service, and be proud. Thank you. So with that, Doug gave me a prerogative prior to coming in, and I'm going to exercise that prerogative. And Doug, would you mind coming forward and leading us in Hark the Sound?
See, this is a wonderful audience because they don't even have to be reminded to stand. And if anyone doesn't know the words, you can mumble. And of course, as I often say, you may sway, but please remain vertical while you sway. And remember, our grandchildren are here, so be careful when you utter the last words. Hark the sound of Tar Heel voices ringing clear and true, singing Carolina's praises, shouting NCU. NCU! Hail to the brightest star of all, clear its radiant shine, dun 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 dun. Carolina, priceless gem, receive all praises thine. For I'm the tar, born on the tar, bred and when I die, the Tar Heel dead, so it's rah-rah, Carolina, rah-rah, Carolina, rah-rah, Carolina, rah-rah,